On the eve of the Formula One season, Red Bull GmbH stated that the grievance filed against its team boss Christian Horner had been dropped. Nevertheless, it is unclear whether this is the end of the case, especially now that the drivers have seemed to chip in on the subject as well. Horner has been cleared following a probe undertaken by Red Bull Racing's parent business after allegations surfaced earlier this year. But has it done permanent damage to his image? A statement from Red Bull GmbH provided few clear answers beyond that. The independent investigation into the charges made against Mr. Horner is complete, and Red Bull can announce that the grievance has been rejected. The complainant has the right to appeal. Red Bull is sure that the inquiry was fair, thorough, and impartial. The investigation report is secret and contains the private information of the parties and third parties that participated in the inquiry. Thus, we will not comment more out of respect for everyone involved. Though it is now clear that Horner will continue to serve as team principal and CEO of Red Bull Racing, this investigation has not been entirely settled and could not be over for a while. The first aspect to remember is that the complainant has the ability to appeal. It is unclear if that will be exercised. The original procedure was lengthy, estimated to last more than a month while the barrister in charge gathered all necessary evidence. By revealing the conclusion on Wednesday, following a meeting of Red Bull's board, the firm hoped to handle the situation before Horner arrives in Bahrain for the season's first Grand Prix. This appeared to be impossible at one point, given the duration of the research. An appeal would reopen the procedure, causing it to continue throughout the season. The big question remains, will we find out what happened? Red Bull's statement makes it plain that it feels the process was fair, rigorous, and impartial. But we only have the company's word on it. Red Bull has not released any information concerning the claims or proof, and will not do so. According to Red Bull, the report is secret and contains the private information of the parties and third parties who assisted the investigation. It will not make any more comments out of respect for all concerned. Given the gravity of the situation and the nature of the allegation, which has not been made public, the corporation certainly took it seriously. The fact that Red Bull GmbH intervened and commissioned an external inquiry, as well as the duration of the procedure, demonstrate this. When asked how important Horner is to the team's success, Verstappen told media, "I think he is very important, otherwise he wouldn't be in that position for such a long time. If your team boss disappears for whatever reason for 1 or 2 races, not much is going to happen because everyone is in their role. They know what they have to do in the short term. But it's all about people management over time. Then of course things will start to be different if you know one of the leaders will start to not be there anymore. But we're not thinking like that." Despite the circumstances surrounding the Red Bull team, Verstappen denies being distracted by the probe. "I'm very focused on the performance of the car and myself," he said. "Hopefully it will be resolved very soon. It's a whole team effort that everyone has to stick together and work towards more success. That's why it's important to get everything resolved very soon. I'm trusting the process. That's what's happening right now. When you talk about performance, it's of course very important that everyone sticks together. Everyone is just very focused on the performance here at the track, and everyone is in a good mood and just excited to get going again." Verstappen is right. Focusing on what is to come should be better. Maybe we should all do that as well, given the facts we've been provided. Another Red Bull-backed driver, Ricciardo, addressing the investigation said, "Coming into the test, obviously we were aware of everything going on. But would I say was it an on-track distraction? No, it wasn't. Knowing we have so little time as well, it was really, I need to focus on me, my team, my driving, and trying to start this week as strongly as possible." Do I feel for him through all of this? Yes, I've known Christian for a long time. He's always been great with me, so I do hope that there is a fair outcome and resolution soon, hopefully before this weekend, so it's not really a distraction for him or obviously anyone in the team. But honestly, for us, we've had to really just focus on ourselves and trying to get on with the task. Hamilton was also asked how much of an issue F1 faced given Horner's involvement in official FIA F1 affairs while under investigation. Replying to media in Hamilton explained, "We always have to do more to try to make the sport and the environment that people get to work in feel safe and inclusive. Any allegations have to be taken very seriously. Obviously, we don't know everything that has gone on, but it does need to be resolved as it's hanging over the sport. It will be really interesting to see how it's dealt with moving forward in terms of the effect it may or may not have on the sport. I think it is a really important moment for the sport to make sure we stand true to our values. But despite the lengthy probe, Horner has always continued to serve as Red Bull's key voice in public. Maybe this was a way of telling things wouldn't turn sour. He was at the car revealing front and center, and while his involvement in pre-season testing was less conspicuous, he did participate in an F1 organized team principals news conference. So we can anticipate him to address the media on Thursday, his first day in the paddock since the decision was revealed after arriving in Bahrain, but not at the track, on Wednesday. He may be able to speak more freely now that the process is over, but given Red Bull's emphasis on secrecy, he will most likely keep particular facts to himself. In terms of what happens next with him, he will maintain his position as team principal and insist that everything will continue as usual. However, given the wild nature of some conjecture and leaks to Dutch media, Horner may now go on the attack to find out where they originated from and whether he can take action. It is doubtful that Red Bull Racing would be damaged by this, as Horner's clearance is the polar opposite of the potentially massive destabilizer that his removal from the post might be. Red Bull has clearly gone about its business as usual in recent months, while Horner has dealt with his personal circumstances and developed what appears to be a superb racing car. Its squad was well organised and conducted a faultless pre-season test, so there is no evidence of any immediate detrimental influence on Red Bull. In the long run, however, it is unclear whether this has hinted to a potential dispute between Horner and other members of Red Bull Racing and the larger Red Bull business. Following Dietrich Mateschitz's passing in late 2022, there has been rumours of a developing power struggle between Horner's UK team in Milton Keynes and the section of the Red Bull business overseen by Oliver Mintzlaff. Given the gravity of the situation, it is critical to examine the allegation and inquiry separately. Nevertheless, other tensions may be present in the background at the same time. Some in F1 feel Red Bull in Austria is concerned about Horner's power base, given his leadership of Red Bull Racing and the F1 operations many other companies, notably the new powertrains complex in Milton Keynes, of which Horner is now CEO. Red Bull's post-Mateschitz era is gradually taking form, and there is a clear desire for increased involvement and accountability from its F1 teams. Consider how Red Bull has plainly intervened with the presentation and functioning of its second team, now dubbed RB. When combined with a probable concern about Horner's influence, it may appear to be in Red Bull's best interests to regain control of a massive company that has been functioning in its name, but essentially operating outside of its purview for several decades. It will be fascinating to see if Horner feels there is a threat from inside, especially given the aforementioned breach of material while this process is being carried out. And we'll have to see how the other teams respond, including its drivers and of course the media frenzy around the situation. Some media outlets have already commented on it, with Martin Brundle stating, "Red Bull, the parent company, have drawn a very thick and firm line underneath the matter, as far as they're concerned with that statement. It does say the complainant can take further action against this, but they are clear. They have done a deep investigation and talked for hours. Many pages of documents have been generated, so clearly there was something to talk about," he added. Christian Horner has always strenuously denied all wrongdoing on this, and they are literally like case closed and complete. I find this a very curious business. We knew no facts whatsoever about this story. Lots of echoes, lots of rumours that swirl around. We can only go by that statement, and it looks like a line drawn underneath it. And let's see if anything else comes out of that from third parties, Brundle said. One other important part is the concerned viewpoint from Ford on the situation. A few weeks into the probe, Ford, who will collaborate with Red Bull as an engine partner beginning in 2026, began to put pressure on the F1 team. In a leaked letter, CEO Jim Farley expressed his frustration that there had been no conclusion. Now that solution has arrived, but Ford is still staying silent about the outcome of the probe. When asked for a statement, a spokesman stated, "We will not be commenting on the situation at this time. It will be interesting to see if the case will be fought over soon. As of right now, it's back to normal business, only with a huge PR dent for Red Bull." What are your thoughts? Should Red Bull be more transparent about the case? And should Horner follow up the case? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.